Okay, I'd like to call to order the committee safety meeting of Tuesday, June 15th at 4 o'clock. I'd first of all would like to welcome Councillor Andy Hobbs to the committee. So welcome, Andy, as a member of the committee. I would also like to thank Michael Wolf for his contributions to being a member of the committee this past number of months, filling in for Kelly Green. So Michael, thank you very much. As well, I'd like to acknowledge Shelby Platten of the RCMP in Wolseley, Saskatchewan, who met an untimely death. Anytime we lose a member of any police force in the country, we as a safety committee should be acknowledging them. So our hearts and prayers go out to Shelby Platten's family, and we hope that Godspeed that we never see anything like that happen again. So. Anyhow, I'd like that recorded in the minutes. And with that, I'd motion on the minutes. Moved, seconded. All those in favor, contrary, carried. Our next meeting will be July 13th in this very chambers. And we will have a longer in-camera meeting just for members of committee because there are a couple of things that have come up. And we'll add anything to the agenda as we go on. So item number one, the property use monthly activity report. We've got Carly Williams. You have the report for information, opportunity for questions of Carly or any other member of staff. Seeing none, then motion to accept the report. Moved, seconded. All those in favor, contrary, carried. Carly, well done. Okay, you're batting 1,000. All right, the community bylaws, parking enforcement, and animal services, Susan Lloyd. See if you can match that. Okay, it's on page 14, received for information. All right, Carol, you're on.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say how great I thought it was on page CS15 that a 7-year-old girl wrote into to the city and told them that she was concerned about dogs loose in her park, Agassiz Park, and not only the SPCA, but city bylaw officers patrol the park. And I just want to say that, well done. That was really good that you guys did that, and I'm sure that meant an awful lot to that family. So thank you.
Oh, we have to echo those sentiments. Well said. Thank you for bringing that up. Is there any other questions of committee on the committee bylaws? Seeing none, moved, seconded. All those in favor, contrary, carried. Okay. Richmond Fire Rescue, number 3, the activity report, page 22 with Fire Chief Tim Wilkinson. Tim,
thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Okay. I don't want to rush it, committee. Councillor Au and I are coming out to that demonstration tomorrow, just so you know. Councillor Au is the acting mayor, so he'll be there with George, and I'll be there at 8:30. I get the 8:30. Jack, you get to sleep in. Okay, any questions of Chief Wilkinson? Seeing none?
I had a question.
Carol, where are you?
I had a question.
Okay, sorry.
I'm here.
I can't
Can
see
you hear?
I didn't see a hand there, so I've lost your picture too. We lost Carol.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me
now?
Go ahead.
Okay. On PSCS 25, there was a structure fire in a barn on number 5 road, and it was thought that it was due to squatters. Did the investigation identify the squatters, and did they get them to a shelter?
No, we didn't. We weren't able to locate the people who were living in the structure. They had left the scene.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Jack?
Yes, I want to ask about the case, the fire of a boat, the boat fire, about 2 weeks ago, and it has been the fire has been put down by the Coast Guard. Anyway, it's been put off. So I just want to ask, did it remind us that we need the fire boat?
Well, through the chair to Councillor Au, the fireboat report is in progress, and we're working with senior management to get you that report. It should be coming your way in the next month or so.
Good, thank you.
Okay, Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the Chief. On our CS24, the second paragraph, it speaks to the increase in medical response due to the changes of the provincial health orders and medical health officers' direction, and how April was, quite a significant increase. And just wondering, anything, you can expand on that? Were there any issues? How was that dealt with? Anything concerning? Anything we can do about that?
Thank you. Through the chair, this is a return to more closely to what our normal level of activity is. We would be approximately 850 to 900 responses per month when all of the provincial health directives fall away again. So it is a continuum of return to our normal state. So we are staffed to take care of this type of call volume and to take care of the risk that's identified with it. Because as you can see, there was an increase almost in every single area. Mm-hmm. And this is really just the city becoming that much more active and people being out and about again. And unfortunately, that's what happens. The more accidents occur.
Well, thanks for that expansion of the description. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions, other questions of the fire chief? Okay, seeing none, motion on the approval. Thank you. Move seconded. All those in favor, contrary carried. Anything to brief us on, Tim?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed regarding the issue around McRoberts Park, South Arm Park issue that occurred last week. A hazardous material did arise, and we were able to locate that and clean it up. We're not sure of the origin of that particular chemical. It is not, what we found is not a naturally occurring issue. So that was cleaned up by a professional cleanup team from Tervita. And we actually were alerted to the park again today with similar concerns. We did go through the park again with a fine-tooth comb, used all our detection equipment, and we have not located another threat. Potentially what people are seeing is there is an infestation of it's called red turpentine beetle within all the trees, and it does put out a residue. This beetle puts off a residue that people are seeing and potentially scared about. And that it is not a problem. We do not have a threat in the park today, as it's all been cleaned up.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Any other items? Any questions? All right, thanks very much, Chief. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, item number 5, we'll move on to RCMP monthly activity report with Chief Superintendent Will Ing. And you're on, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and welcome, Councillor Hobbs. For this month of April, property crime the numbers were good. You might notice that sex offenses were up slightly. No trends or patterns associated with that. We have 4 files associated with the same individual that we actually recently arrested and charged. So we are making progress with respect to some of these cases. And that will be the pretty much the update for the report.
Okay. Carol, I'll vote for this one. I apologize if it was for the last one. You're on. Carol, you're on. You're muted. There you go.
Okay, is that okay?
Yep, you're on.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much. to the superintendent. So on page CS 37, regarding hate crime, I noticed, I looked at the chart, and I expected a bigger spike. I expected a higher number. So is it less of an issue that we thought it was, or is it just, or the charts just are a little bit behind where we're at today?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Day, through the chair. We'll notice that the spike is actually more in other parts of the Lower Mainland, specifically Vancouver, which they've noticed a significant increase in hate incidents. We have also noticed that hate incidents increased in our jurisdiction, but if you note, looking at the table, not to the same degree, but there has been an increase, a slight increase.
Oh. So that's good news. It's not as bad as we thought it was. So I'm happy to hear that. And then on hospital wait times, they increased considerably. Is that caused by the offender or the hospital just being behind schedule?
Through the chair, that mostly is the individual. It's the person that we're dealing with at the hospital. We have, through our Fox 80 program and just our meetings with Vancouver Coastal Health, have streamlined processes at the hospital to reduce the wait times. I am aware that, once they do the renovations in a few years, there are plans to also continue to streamline that process. But currently, we've actually made a lot of progress with respect to wait times over the past couple of years. But periodically, we'll see a spike due to the individual that might require a little bit more attention.
Okay. Last question is on CS 45. It shows the statistics for crime in Richmond. Am I still there? Yes? Can
Yes.
you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So CS 45 is the chart for the statistics for crime. I get a lot of people asking me, but how does that compare to other cities? So would it be possible for once every, maybe 4 times a year, just to give us a chart that shows where we're at in comparison to Vancouver?
Councillor Day, sorry, I heard the tail end of that. You were
Sorry.
looking for a comparison to our neighboring jurisdiction?
Yes.
Okay. On the CS37, I know that it doesn't have a comparison to Vancouver, but it does have a comparison to other RCMP jurisdictions in the Lower Mainland.
Okay.
And you will note that violent crime is the lowest in the Lower Mainland in Richmond, and property crime is second lowest amongst RCMP jurisdictions. I mean, we can definitely look at those policed by our municipal partners and see what the comparison is as well. I know that depending on how they collect their data, it may be there might be slight variations.
I get it. And so the detail that's in CS 45 wouldn't be possible because that breaks it right down. And so what we've done on page CS 37 is just to general rates. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, Harold?
You're welcome.
Harold, you've been good.
Yeah,
You're on.
Yeah. I just wanted to follow up on the question that Carol asked about the hate crimes. In the ones that have happened in Richmond has been a multicultural city going back 100 years, and generally very tolerant people. And I'm wondering, do you have any idea how many hate crimes are visitors, or are they all local residents that have been keeping themselves relatively secret until now in terms of their animosity to other people?
Through the chair to Councillor Steeves, I was actually quite surprised, but to find out that a lot of the hate incidents have a mental health component, and I'd say probably looking at about 80% of our hate incidents actually involve a mental health component to it. But there's probably, I would say, a good proportion of the incidents involve people that live in Richmond. So I don't have the exact data, but I could definitely look into that. But there have been a number of people that do live in Richmond.
Anyway, I was somewhat sorry to hear that, and that's what I was wondering, because we've had some pretty good tolerant people for a long time. But if it is mental health, then I can understand that too, because some people have some very strange ideas. Thanks.
Okay, Michael?
You're welcome.
Thank you, and through the chair to Superintendent Ng, if I could ask, Chief Superintendent Ng, if I could ask two other question areas that haven't been mentioned. I know it's not in this report. This is on April. It's probably going to be in the May report. An incident in Hamilton that involved New Westminster officers as well, going into a townhouse complex and retrieving someone. My question is I think relevant now or anytime, because there was a lot of social media coverage from residents who take pictures of the incident as it unfolds. I'm not. Is there a campaign? If that's a problem, is there a campaign to educate people? Because as I've seen the last couple of years, incidents in the neighborhood. There's like a Facebook group, and it can really light up with activity. And if someone who is problematic can tap into that, they can see all the footage. Or is that not an issue? Is there education campaign needed?
Thanks, Councillor Wolf. Through the chair, it is a problem that we have to deal with on a daily basis. People just
He's breaking up. Oh, we gotta.
So to record whatever is taking place. And can you hear me?
You were breaking up.
Yeah, can we try again, Will? Directly right at the microphone?
Sure.
I couldn't hear that either. I don't know if Michael heard it either.
No, I didn't.
Try it again. Sorry about that.
No problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Very good.
We can definitely look into what ways we can do to educate our community with respect to the challenges that social media place upon us, and as part of our education awareness even for our youth in schools. And when we talk about cybercrime and cyberbullying, that's something that we can definitely cover off there. Yeah, it is a challenge, especially when we have a emergency response team, trying to do containment, and people are videotaping our ERT operators. That is a problem. So it's something we can definitely look into.
Great, I appreciate that. And I know not all Hamilton residents are part of Block Watch areas, so I'm sure that's one stream you have. But anyhow, my other question area, if I may, through the chair, in the report, page 44, one of the headings is volunteer bike and foot patrol programs. I don't know if this is something that is public, what areas are patrolled, but I just wanted to ask about one specific area, because I've talked to a resident who says at this time of year, a whole lot more suspicious or violating type of activities go on at the Imperial Landing, involving people fishing and fishing in areas they're not supposed to, and bullying other people out of areas. And I've heard that it's been getting close to violence or confrontation. So I'm not sure if that is a place that is. I know it's lots of jurisdictional issues there. It's over the water. There's conservation officers who enforce other levels of this. But do RCMP support our bylaw enforcement of some of the signs on what can or cannot occur? Because I've heard from a number of people, and I've seen it myself when I tried to dock on it on Imperial Landing, that anyhow, people kind of claim it for their own uses and such. So I'm not sure, is that part of the volunteer foot patrol area?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, if it involves any kind of risk, definitely we would not send our volunteers. So if we're talking about any potential for violence, that's definitely something that we would not engage our volunteers with. However, having said that, if there is that element taking place, we'll be happy to provide visibility and increase patrols. And we could definitely look into that and see if there's any data even if there is no data, I would encourage those that have experienced any type of bullying along Imperial Landing to please call us, and we'll definitely look into the issue.
Great, I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay, very good. Linda?
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and through you to the Chief Superintendent. Thank you for the report, and thank you for the work that you're doing on your Hate Has No Place campaign. I know that the community really values this work. And given the terrible incident that happened in London, Ontario, just wondering if there has been extra outreach to our Muslim community.
Thank you, Councillor McPhail. Through the chair, yes, as you may, committee might be aware, we've made significant efforts to of course, build relationships with our faith community, and that includes, of course, our Muslim community, and we have a very good relationship with all our mosques and also with our Muslim schools, and to the point where we actually provide even DARE education. And I'm very proud of our officers. They're conditioned now where when there's a hate incident that takes place around the world, be it at a synagogue or a mosque or a church, our officers know immediately to provide that comfort by attending the church or the mosque in this case, and providing that comfort with the visibility, and also reaching out to them and just checking in on them. And so we have, as soon as this incident took place, our officers were there, and they still continue to provide that visibility even today.
Great, thanks for that.
Yep. Councillor Hobbs?
Thank you, through the chair. Chief Superintendent, I just want to, first of all, since it's my first meeting, acknowledge publicly that your leadership in Richmond has been outstanding from everybody I talk to, and I think that flows down to your members and to the whole detachment, so thank you for that. One of the things that
Thank you.
One of the things I was just looking at quickly was the impact that COVID and 2020 has had on the volunteer aspect and community policing aspect. That's really important to your detachment. So I wondered if you had considered that impact, and have you seen any, decrease in hours? I think you have seen, but a decrease in kind of your resources and your talent pool that you have in the community. And then I think the challenge will be the strategies that you put in place to try and recover from that when we come out of COVID, in terms of even recruiting new volunteers, because some may choose to retire from their volunteer work, whether it's Speedwatch or auxiliaries, what have you. So have you seen that kind of impact, and do you anticipate some new strategies to kind of recover from it as we go forward?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Hobbs. And we have seen a decrease during COVID, of course, because we've had to cancel most of our volunteer activity because of COVID. And only recently, in the past several months, did we actually have restart plans for some of our volunteer initiatives. And even then, we were mindful of the seniors that were involved with volunteering, because we didn't want to compromise their health and safety. And so therefore, it was a personal choice for them to still remain engaged with the volunteer program. But having said that, we've been trying to keep our volunteers engaged by having volunteer appreciation despite COVID. We've had a food truck event where it was a drive-through, just to provide that encouragement to our volunteers and to value them and to appreciate them. It hasn't been an easy year, for sure, but I'm so proud of our volunteers. We have the greatest volunteers in the world, as far as I'm concerned, in Richmond. And I think that base of volunteers still exists. And I'm hopeful that once we get through these next couple of months, we're going to launch right back into it. We're going to continue to recruit volunteers. We've had a strong base, even with respect to the city center, community center. A lot of our volunteers there have gone on to become first responders and have joined law enforcement. And we actually have a wall of fame in that office where we probably have about 50 volunteers that actually went on to become first responders. So there's a lot of pride in our volunteers, and I think we're not going to have. I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to get right back into stride and continue to do the great work that we're doing to support community safety throughout Richmond, and it's contagious. And as far as I'm concerned, we have some of the greatest volunteers, some of the greatest advocates, and so. There have been some that have fallen off, but once we get the all clear and people start to feel safe again, I think we're
Breaking up again.
able to volunteer appreciation events for them, and we're gonna and just enhance that experience for our volunteers.
Okay, we lost you. What?
And
Thank you.
can you hear me now? Yeah.
We got most of it, Will, but probably that last two sentences that you said, we didn't get.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to do everything we can once we get the all clear to enhance the experience for all our volunteers.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Okay, Andy? Good. Okay, anything else? Any other questions of the Chief Superintendent? Okay, do you have anything in briefing?
I just wanted to provide a brief overview of our gang enforcement initiatives. I know that's front and center in the Lower Mainland. Again, we have 7-day coverage with gang suppression in Richmond, and we also team up with our partners at CFSU, who have also a full-time gang enforcement unit, and we're working collaboratively with CFSU and also all our partner jurisdictions to keep the pressure up on our gangsters. We also have recently received training, our officers have received training in the End Gang Life program, and that's something that we hope to implement in our school district, and we're just waiting for the go-ahead from the school district to introduce the End Gang Life program to our youth, just to talk about the dangers of joining gangs. And that is your update.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, thanks very much. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Did I vote on 5? A motion to receive for information? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Contrary, carried. Great, thank you. I have one item to add, and I'll add it. I'd like to, I mentioned last time about drones in residential areas. So I'd like to move a formal referral to staff to look at drones flying in residential areas and maybe put in a bylaw for a no-fly zone in residential areas with drones. So I'd like to move that and have staff to come back and see. We have it in parks. I got to get a seconder first. Second? Nobody wants it? Okay, thank you. All right. It's been moved and seconded as a referral to look at included. We have a policy for parks in an area of parks and where we can fly these, but they're starting to show up in some of the residential areas in our community. So any discussion, Carol, on this one? Go ahead.
No, I had one other item when you're done. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Contrary, carried. Okay, it's referred to staff. Thank you very much. Carol, you're on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had an interesting letter from a resident who lived close to Cook School, and what they were concerned about was people not picking up after their dogs. And I know the city has signs up all over the place, but we came up with an unusual idea. I provided some sign blanks and wires to put into the ground, and then the kids are going to make their own little pictures, just, please pick up after your dog, and put these laminated pictures on the sign blanks that I provided. And I wonder if this isn't something we as a city could do to schools, because, I think that a personal note from children might encourage people to be more responsible and pick up after their dogs. I wondered if Carly maybe has something to say about what she thinks we could do.
Through the chair, Carly has left the meeting after her report. I can take that idea back, and we can look at doing something. Bylaws doesn't generally have an outreach program into schools, so our contact to school is usually through fire and the RCMP. But certainly we can look into that idea and see if there is something glean from that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll
That's your
follow up with.
question. Go ahead. Okay? You all right with
Thank
that?
you.
Is there anything else for the good of, from committee? Managers' reports. Any managers' reports, Cecilia?
Through the chair, nothing in open.
Nothing in open, all right. Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none for the agenda, the good of committee safety, motion to adjourn. All those in favor, contrary carried. We're adjournment. And